Well, good evening and welcome to the fourth of the Navigators and General coaching sessions with Simon Horsfield. Great, well, half time now, isn't it, as we go into the New Year's break, Simon? But all events and all races completed.
Yeah, huge contrast, as we said many times, to last year, where super light. This year we've got all races underway, and we've had some fantastic win ranges across those. So it's been a fantastic 2025, and looking forward to that continuing for the next four races, Simon.
Yeah, so great time had in Yorkshire Dales. Some fantastic photos. We were saying earlier, this just doesn't look like an inland venue, does it, in terms of all that chop? It looks a bit wind on tide again.
It really does. Yeah, it's fantastic. Tim's captured a great photo, and yeah, Fireball engulfed in water. Definitely that you'd expect on the sea. So yeah, fantastic. And what a difference from last year to this year. I think we couldn't see the water from the clubhouse, and no wind, and we had a much breezier day, and certainly a much more chilly one than last year.
Yeah. But Yorkshire Dales really delivered some great racing and some great hospitality, as they're well famous for. Right. Okay. So, what are we going to look at tonight then?
So yeah, firstly, just a little brief reflection of the forecast. Firstly, and yeah, I mean, we had anything from possibly a little bit less than 12, but generally 12 and gusts of 30 knots by the end of race 2, and predominantly they're averaging out 17 or 18 knots if you look across the averages there. So it's certainly sailable, and it was just managing those super big gusts. And I guess really the secret of the day, as we always say, is keep your head out of the boat and keep the boat in the pressure. And there were certainly some big gusts and some challenging conditions out there, which made for some fantastic spectator sport. Certainly,
well, definitely, and great to have the. We'll look at the course in a minute alongside the clubhouse, but amazingly, only 21 boats, I think, was managed to complete both races. So quite an attrition rate, wasn't there, between different races? And interestingly, some people didn't make race 1, some people didn't make race 2. So I guess there was some issues going on there, wasn't there?
Yeah, and it comes down to when you're doing championship racing and you're trying to sort of win or do really well in a series, it's about if you haven't made race 1, I suspect that's gear failure. And when you look at race 2, is that because you got too cold? Was the wind too strong? Perhaps you had the wrong setup. There's a whole myriad of reasons why. Or a couple of swims and in that temperature, it really does take it out of you. So. When you're reflecting on why didn't you do the 2 races, it's about preparing yourself for that with equipment or yourself, or practicing in those windier conditions in the summer months so you don't capsize when it comes to the winter stuff, Simon.
Yeah, and with only 2 races and all to count, yeah, you need to be there on both races.
Yeah, you do. You can't afford fleet plus 1, which is what you're going to get for a did not finish or did not come.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So yeah, this evening I thought we'd just have a look at firstly the results for top 10. Captured a little bit of pin end drama in race 1, and we can chat through what the Enterprise in this case could or couldn't have done, or should have done. Windward mark, a little bit of what we can do there. Do we want to be on a long ley line? Some interesting stuff with 3 200s coming into the leeward mark, and an exciting sequence there, and some top tips to survival. So quite compact, but as you might imagine, with it being so breezy, both Tim and I were busy rescuing as much as we were trying to do and capture the stuff on the water, Simon.
Yes, yeah. Busy time out there, but yeah,
it was definitely
great footage and photos that both you and Tim got. So well done to you in the challenging conditions. Right, okay, so yeah, then we can see the course. Obviously, it's slightly narrow water and a slightly different wind direction, I think, than we ordinarily see. But a bit of an M course that gave 2 beats, I guess.
Yeah, and and Phil there squeezed it in, and that second bit, added some real value to it, and it's all about traditionally we have a trapezoid course, but that doesn't work for all the reservoirs that we've got or wind directions. So yeah, we managed to get the maximum use of the water. So yeah, it was good, and I think really from my point of view in the safety boat or the rib, there was a lot more wind on the right hand side of the course than there was on the left hand side of the course. So there were lots of options out there for you to get your boat into. So yeah, I think we made the best of of what he had.
Yeah, and great to actually see the racing in front of the clubhouse. So the start was almost off the big windows at the back of the clubhouse, weren't you?
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Fantastic viewing, and yeah, we could see the off-wind and the upwind legs straight from the comfort of the clubhouse. So, right, okay. So yes, so this is how the top 10 panned out. A bit of a familiar story, but again, probably closer than it actually looks, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're just saying before we sort of started recording that, it's 2025 appears to be, the year of the Merlin, and what will 2026 bring? Will that bring a change? But although the Merlins, first 3 events were won by Tom Gillard with 2 different crews, Rachel Gray and Arran Holman, and the Brass Monkey were won by Johnny McGovern and Arran Holman. Those boats have been sailed fantastically well across a broad spectrum of conditions. I think that's important to know, because people are very quick to say, well, the handicap's wrong or whatever. But actually, look at the individuals sailing these boats and how well they've sailed them. They've sailed them, exceptionally well across a great wind range, Simon.
Yeah, and these are some of the country's top sailors, aren't they?
Absolutely.
In terms of, Tom Gillard's won most championships. Johnny and Aaron, top coaches in their own rights, which we'll see in the interview we did later. So, that they are the best of the best. But at some point, we were perhaps ought to look at the times. But the actual winning margins aren't that massive, so they're not blitzing it. They are being pushed quite hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see the familiar faces there. You've got Nicky in the top 5, and you've got a broad spectrum of dinghies. Anything from a 200 to an aero to a wayfarer. So it's really good to see lots of different boats in the top 10, so top 10 as well, Simon.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So got a little video to show. This is what the start of race 1, I think.
Yeah, we can just watch it through. And what we've got here is an Enterprise, and the Enterprise has worked out that there's a heavy pin bias on the line, and is setting up for the pin.
Oh.
Hits the pin, tacks off, creates a little bit of carnage between the K1 and the 420. There was a little bit of shouting going on at this point, I can tell you. And result is the K1 and the Enterprise, are left in the wake of the rest of the fleet. So, as we run this back again, Simon, it's a case of, well, we've got the option here of a bit of hindsight. Well, we're perhaps lined up a little bit early. And again, if we just go back to the beginning here, there's an option right at the start of the footage to jibe off and bail out at the start. So here you can do a quick little jibe, come back in and maybe give yourself an opportunity. But even that might not work. You still might not make the pin because it was quite tight. So here I guess the Enterprise, and I can only speculate that we're going to go for a pin. We're going to win the pin. Well, perhaps go on, so Simon.
Yeah, well, no, they were very close. It was sort of interestingly. Let's just, if we look at, you can see the tracking.
Mm-hmm.
What 1 second ago they were virtually on the line.
So pretty close, but you're putting yourself in a position there. You're one wind shift away from disaster, and if it goes right, you're going to make success. So what would be better here is, rather than say I'm going to win the pin, or I'm going to win the left-hand third of the start. So just aim or set up your boat a little bit further towards the committee boat end to get that 1/3. And occasionally you'll end up on the pin, but what you're doing, you're giving yourself a bigger margin for error. And in these races, when there's no discards, we've gone all in that first race and potentially threw that first race away. So just be mindful of that. Is set up a little bit more conservatively on the left third would be better, and therefore your risk management is going to be better. The other thing, when it's this windy, what you can't do so easily is you can't stop and lie to for any length of period, because the boat will go sideways because of the breeze. So you've always got to keep a little bit of drive on. So if it was 5 knots, he might have got away with it, but in this situation, he's got to keep driving, and that also creates another problem. So sometimes it pays to be a little bit later coming into the start when it's windy, because you can't hang around because you'll just go sideways.
Right. Okay. So now to the is this the first mark?
Yeah, so I think we've had this sort of like chat in every one of the previous three sort of like reviews, and it's important to highlight, I think, each time, although it might be a little bit repetitive, and you can see on the tracker here, and what we're looking at here is overlaying the windward mark. So it was windy, and when it's windy, you tend to do less maneuvers. So, you know, you tend to sort of like bang a corner, as we say, more, because it's less risk. But the impact of banging a corner and not being at the front is all you can see on these various clips. There's lots of boats coming in on the starboard ley line, overlaying and reaching in, and therefore sailing much greater distance, opposed to the Ilka and the Aero here that are coming in on the port lay, short period of time on that ley line, and around they go. You know, you've got a 2000 up here, you've got Ilkas, you've got a Vago, all sailing extra distance. And of course, you know, what's the secret to an average lap race is to get around the lap as quick as possible, sailing the least amount of distance. And I think that's the point I'm trying to get across here, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the 420 is a bit of an anomaly, because they tend to come in at quite high. You know, this boat's leading anyway and sailed a little bit of extra distance, but the 420 doesn't point particularly high compared to something like a K1. A good shot though of the top tight reach, which, you know, had plenty of drama and close racing across the top there. And you can see here, I think this Ilka goes in for a little bit of swim. There's some real brutal gusts coming down.
Yeah, you can see it on the water, don't you?
So yeah, just think about, you know, as you get towards the top third of the windward mark, you know, where am I on the great scheme of things? Am I overstanding? Am I inside the shift lines? And try and come more up the middle is always going to be the better outcome. And here we've got the top Enterprises reaching in compared to the inside one, and you know the greater distance we've sailed there is, you know, 2, 3, 4 boat lengths. So I think
Yeah.
further.
Okay. So we're down to the bottom mark now, aren't we?
Yeah, there was lots of excitement here, and where this mark, which we're going to show in a moment with these 200s coming into the leeward mark, it's very close to the down wall here, so there's not much room, maybe 10-15 boat lengths before you hit the down wall. So it was quite an exciting leeward mark rounding, and we'll just watch this play, and then we'll have a look at these 3 200s. So I'll just let this run back. So what we're looking at as we get round here is the 3 200s, 2 with pink spinnakers and 1 with a turquoise spinnaker, and the one on the right hand side has jibed first, and great move to come and get inside overlap for the next coming mark. So holding position, which is great. Coming down here and still got inside overlap, so going to drop the kite. So we all drop the kite, go around here, and the helm doesn't move here, still on the windward side as the boom comes across, and all that hard work is gone in an instant, and allowing those 2 other 200s to come through. So converting a strong position and making right decisions to a poor jibe. So, you know, if we rewind again and watch again, so the secret here is jibe first on the inside. If you can be the first boat to jibe, that's good. Naturally, the other 2 boats will jibe then on top of you. Here, it's really key to keep the boat and kite filling. And the kite trim here and the overall boat thing is a little bit wobbly. Bear in mind, it is super windy. But they could have sailed that a little bit better into there and been under less pressure, which might have made this jibe a little bit easier. So what's the secret here? He does all the things right. Just to recap, on the right-hand side, he jibes first, which is always the right thing to do. So you don't want to wait for the boat behind you to jibe. But now you need to trim the kite really well, and concentration here is key because of the turbulence from the boats ahead. And all you're trying to do is maintain the overlap. what's important here as well, you see all the kites are flapping, they should be filled and flying into the drop. So past the kite sheet, back to the helm. And this is a twofold. So firstly, if the helm's flying the kite while the crew's dropping it, you're going to get another half a boat length, another boat length with the spinnaker still filling. When you drop it and the helm has got hold of the kite sheet, the other advantage to this is the fact that when you hoist it next time, it won't be wine glassed. Why does a spinnaker wine glass? Because if you let the kite sheet go, it can wrap itself around whilst the crew's dropping it. So fly the kite into the drop if you can. It's not always possible, I realise. And here on the jibe, what did the helm not do? Well, the helm didn't move, and that the helm needs to do is beat the boom and needs to be on the windward side like the other two boats did who were coming in from behind before the boom reaches the other side of the boat. So there was lots of good stuff here, and this was just an opportunity to show you, well, a mixture of good and a mixture of things that you could do differently.
Right.
But there was lots of really close racing. I think the 9-200s out there, Simon.
Yeah, that was a good strong fleet, and yeah, they clearly.
And it was very close all day. In the pack there was lots of close racing, and that was just one of many mark roundings that we captured. But takeaways there are get the inside overlap, but fly the kite into, nail the jibe, and you'll reap rewards.
Right.
So at times, Simon, it certainly was survival conditions, and surviving was just doing 2 races, I think, for quite a lot of the people out there.
Yeah. There wasn't much demand for the third race, was there?
No, it was fair to say it was a little chilly, but great nevertheless. So really just want to leave you some top tips really for survival sailing, and at times, certainly in the second race in the big gusty, it was certainly edging towards survival sailing conditions. Where the number one thing is to keep the boat upright or keep the mast in the sky, and sounds obvious, but if you can go out in 25 knots of breeze, sail all the races and not capsize, you're going to always be in the top third, because the other 2/3 of people can't keep the boat upright. They might retire. So high wind sailing is always an opportunity for you to get a good banking race just by staying out and keeping upright. So, to sail upright, you might choose to do minimal maneuvers. You might choose to tack instead of jibing when going downwind, all with the aim of keeping the boat upright, because that is what the number one rule is in high wind sailing. So that's my first tip. What can you do to keep the boat upright other than practice lots? Set the boat up for a forecast. It was always going to be a building forecast. We could see that from the net we had. So it was only going to get windier. So set the boat up. So easy if you're in a laser or an aero. Or a Merlin, where you can dynamically adjust the boat on the water, but something like is pictured here, a 2000 or a Wayfarer or something like that, or a Vago, you're stuck with what you've got. So set it up accordingly. So in this case, depower it, maybe break the mast back, would be sensible. Maybe put a smaller sail on if you've got a cut down sail. Certainly minimize your maneuvers. Tacking is pretty slow in 25 knots of breeze, and you could see that if you watch a tracker back. I mean, most people were doing 2 tacks up the beat. So they were going off the left-hand end of the start line, going out to the port lay, and then only tacking as they went around the windward mark. And that is a reflection of the breeze. There were other people doing more tacks, but yeah, minimal tacking upwind is what you tend to see when it's windy. Communication, so not applicable unless you want to talk to yourself in your aero or your ilka. If you're in a double-handed boat, what are the key words that you're going to use? So what I might choose to use in a boat is bail, and that would be bail out the start, or if I'm going to jibe, I'm going to bail. And what that would mean is I'm going to continue going straight on because my first attempt at jibing hasn't gone well. But if we both know what bail means, we're both going to know that we're going to build up speed again before then doing the next jibe. So what are the communication? It's certainly obvious, like tack, jibe, 3-2-1 jibing, 3-2-1 tacking. whatever it may be, but have 8-10 sayings what you're going to use around the racetrack is really helpful, and that will help keep the mast in the sky. There was lots of huge gusts out there, and a gust is an opportunity to get around the course faster, but also makes jibing easier. And in windy conditions, as I'm sure we all know, you want to jibe in pressure, going as fast as possible. And the reason for that is if there's 20 knots of breeze and your boat is doing 5 knots, the boom is going to come across at 15 knots. If it's 20 knots and you're doing 19 knots, the boom is just going to glide across at a steady 1 knot because you're going with it. So that the faster you go, the less power there is in the boom as it comes across. And it's that speed of the boom coming across generally what tips you in. So the faster you go, the better. But you might choose to do an M jibe, which means as the boom comes across and fills, you bear away back downwind in towards a run to take the power out the boat. Because if you don't, and you just jibe to jibe, if you look at this 2000 in the picture here that Simon's put up, they haven't done an M jibe, and they've come out in the power zone and are now in a whole world of pain. And I think they end up swimming, unfortunately, as a result of this, possibly because the spinnaker isn't up. Yes, but more likely the fact that they have oversteered in the jibe and haven't corrected it, Sam.
Yeah.
As I've already said, I think always, if you can, think of how you're going to keep the boat upright, and that might involve doing a granny tack or wearing round, as they say. And I certainly won many races over years by dropping the kite and tacking, hoisting again, and getting to the leeward mark because it's been super windy. And finally, goes without saying, if you've got the right gear on, you're going to be in the right mindset, thinking about sailing and not about going in for your pasty and not shivering. So yeah, the kit we have nowadays is fantastic. So just make sure you've laid it up correctly for the conditions. Those will be my top tips, really, Simon.
Yeah, very useful. Right, okay. What have we got here? So yeah, some big speeds were achieved. Not surprisingly, the Musto skiff was up there with the RS600, the Merlin. So really, as you expect, downwind legs. And then we do a bit of a correction, and we see you see the RS200. Not quite sure who this is, but some funny name sailors out there, weren't there?
Yes, I think we're having a little bit of humour there. I think that might be Fresh Aberdeen and Ross Southall, I think. Yeah. So yeah, well done to them with a great.
Yeah, so they were fasted on corrected speeds. Not far off the Musto skiff actually, because I guess the water actually possibly suited the slightly slower boats, didn't it? Yeah,
yes, it did, I think, and the bands of gusts were quite small, so yeah, it was up to speed and be able to maximise it rather than, I guess, some of the other boats that would take a little bit longer or need a little bit more of a longer leg, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, some impressive speeds were achieved, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay. So yeah, you managed to catch up with the winners at the end. So play that video out. Quite an insightful content coming up there.
So we're here at the Seldén Sailjuice Winter Series up at the Brass Monkey, 27th December. Super cold up here, guys. Force 4 to force 6. Super breezy, very chilly. Great day. I was watching the Merlin out there, and you guys were in a league of your own. And I think you've won both races out there, guys. So firstly, congratulations. Well done. How was it?
Yeah, it was pretty full on, I'd say. We haven't sailed together in a Merlin before, and Arran was definitely dragging me around from the front. And yeah, I mean the gusts out there were pretty strong, caught us out a few times, but we just sailed around as quickly as we could. And one of those days where you come in and you've no idea how well you've done, you're just happy to survive. So yeah, no, really good day, and we love coming to the Brass Monkey. It's a highlight of the winter for us. So
absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. And Arran, you're so back back-to-back wins for you as a crew. First with Tom and now with Johnny. So a bit of a pro at the front now.
I don't know about that. I'm a tiller man at heart, but it is nice jumping around the front and pulling some string occasionally. And it's pretty cool sailing with Johnny because he spent sort of a decade coaching me, and now sort of just sailing around having a laugh is absolutely cracking. I mean, we do so much other random stuff throughout the year. It's wicked to find a bit of quiet time to go and do an amazing event like this and in an awesome place like this, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, it's absolutely fabulous up here and great. A couple of years where it's been light, and this year's in a proper Grimworth Reservoir at its absolute best. Big gusts, big wind range, and super cold. Exactly what we'd expect. So is this the start of some more Sailjuice events for you guys, or is this just a one-off?
Don't know yet. We'll just keep going with it. I think Aaron's planning to do the Bloody Mary, are you? And try and get to a few of the other competitions. But we just, if we get a chance and there's a boat available, we'll.
If the schedule opens, we'll be there. Like we just love it. Yeah.
And just back from the Youth Worlds, super well done. Great result for Great Britain.
The medal maker.
The medal maker. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was a really good event for the British team, and it was the medals were awesome, but the environment that the guys created out there was super special, and it was a real privilege to do that with the team out there, and coming away with a few golds and silver was a real highlight. So I think the work going on in the youth sailing is really strong at the moment, and it's hopefully more to come in the future. So
brilliant. Well, congratulations. Great to see. Great sailing today, guys. And it was a pleasure just watching you guys around, and you were in clear wind all the time. And I think that's the secret to the Sailjuice series. Get start, sail your own race, keep out of trouble, avoid traffic, and you did that seamlessly today, and rewarded with 2 bullets and the win. So congratulations, and we look forward to seeing more of you in the winter. Well done.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Right. Okay. We back with us, Simon?
Yeah. All good.
Right, okay, so we're at the halfway stage of the series. So let's see how the results are pulling out. So Paul Young moves to the top.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Oh, that Paul.
Yeah. It's all good. Yeah.
So,
We're the only boat to do 4 events, so.
Well, yes, but I think that's the message, isn't it, Simon? That you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you?
Absolutely, yeah. And in the years that Katie and I were successful, it was all about doing as many events as possible, and therefore giving the opportunity to have a discard. And as Paul just said, he's done all the events and is rewarded by leading the series so far. So well done for doing all the events and putting in a good performance in each of those. And you can see here, you don't need to win the event to win the series ultimately, Simon.
So we're now basically at four events, and it's 4 events to qualify. So we could now have 4 wipeouts, Paul. So fingers crossed for no sailing. I know Tom Gillard's out of the country at the moment, isn't he? But he's due to come back for the last 2. So you've still got a chance, Paul.
Absolutely, and as has the Hadron with Gavin in, who's been consistently putting some good results as well.
Yeah, it's just so important to get those results in, because as we saw last year, we just don't know what's going to happen with the weather and so forth. I think we struggled. We've had 13 races so far. I don't think we even got to 13, did we, last year, Paul?
No.
About 11, I think, wasn't it? So.
I don't know. I did all of them, but I don't know how many there was.
Well, no, we lost a lot, didn't we? We lost at Draycott, we lost at Yorkshire Dales, we lost at Datchet, didn't we? So we lost races all over the place. So, right, okay, well done. So, and the other results are based on the sort of Magic Marine extracted rankings. So these are slightly different. They're based on every race, and the extracted results based on different categories such as age and types of boat. And they're discarded every 3rd race. So this sort of mixes things up again a bit. So the fast symmetric, the Merlin of Tom, Rachel, Aaron, and still the lead, but the Osprey moves ahead and contenders up there. So another chance to shine. And then on the slow symmetric, it's another grey, Peter Gray there. Great shots again. That's windy Datchet, isn't it, Simon?
Yeah, that was very gusty. Yeah.
shows there, and so the streakers ahead of the Snipe and the Ilka 4. So again, such a contrast in boats, which is a great thing about this series. We just see, well, we see typically 80 odd classes there, and really no domination of any particular class, is there?
No, and that's great, and that just shows, I think, that the strength of the Great Lakes handicap. It constantly adjusts, and I think that's reflected in results, and part of why the series is so successful.
Yeah, right. Okay, so half an hour away. So coming up to the fifth, so second half. We were discussing earlier, Sam, this event moves around a bit, so sometimes it's in the first year, sometimes it's in the second year, but the way the calendar runs this way, it's the first, I think, the first full weekend after Christmas or whatever. So we'll see the Grafton Grand Prix this Sunday, the 4th of January. Typically a big entry, isn't there? And going to be a cold one this year, I think.
Yeah. Forecast looks a little bit chilly, but dry. So yeah, currently when I had a look earlier, it was about 2 degrees. But good news is it's 8 to 12 knots or 6 to 14 on the 2 forecasts I've got west southwest. So it shouldn't, it should be great sailing. And the Grafton Grand Prix is subtly different with 3 racetracks, Simon, rather than all.
Yeah, that's right. So all the other events are sort of one racetrack. The Grafton was split over 3. We've got the water to sort of do that. So we have a fast track for the basically boats are below 1,000, cats as well, boilers and things like that. So the real fast boats there. Then the medium, and then the slow. I guess, is this the medium? This is probably the medium fleet we're looking at here, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Hadrons, Merlins, and things like that. And then the slow down to toppers on the 3rd course. Yeah,
and spread across the lake, you get some different conditions, but it's important to note that you might get 3 individual winners, one from a slow, one from a medium, one from fast. But in terms of a Sailjuice, Simon, you extract that out, the results out of that.
Yeah, we'll combine them into one overall result, basically looking at the GPS data. So we know the course length, course angles, we can see how well each course is performing. So we can not only handicap the boat, we can handicap the course to give us a sort of a 1 to 150, or how many boats there are, to give us an overall winner that then goes back into the Sailjuice rankings.
Yeah. Which is great, and which one of the we don't often have catamaranes, but this is one of the events that we have multi-hulls and in as well, which quite often we don't see, Simon. So yeah,
really well inclusive, I suppose. And again, Grafton has got the water to do it. Other waters are restricted. Like Yorkshire Dales, I guess, couldn't take catamarans, just haven't got the space, have they? But there are the space at these bigger events. Rutland's the same as well. Foilers. By Rutland's, we've even seen IQ foilers, haven't we?
Yep.
So just to sort of further add to the flavour. It's such a diverse sport. It's great that the handicap allows us to sail so randomly different boats against each other with a reasonable amount of fairness.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm looking forward to Sunday's racing, and there'll be 3 back-to-back races across each of the courses, and the handicap splits we haven't been up yet, but I'm sure they'll come up shortly, if not on the day, to work out which of the 3 fleets you'll be in. Yeah,
we will see that sort of on Friday or whatever, and then quickly followed by the Bloody Mary, the big. I think this is their 50th.
Yeah, it's the 50th. It's the 50th.
Some big anniversary coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the big 5-0.
5-0, yeah. So they'll be expecting a big turnout for that. So yeah, it's always a busy Christmas. Events come short and sharp, and then we have a bit of a break before the Tiger Trophy at Rutland at the end of January, and then the final one, the Oxford Blue, just ahead of the dinghy show and the big prize giving.
Yeah. So yes.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that's just over 30 minutes, so we'll probably call that a day, and hopefully see everyone soon, and wish everyone a happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New Year, and we look forward to seeing those who are coming at Grafton on Sunday.
Great. Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.